Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm working on day 9 of By the Wall for God's Poured Out Devotional. Now, as you can see from the background, I already have a background going on of dictionary paper. That is because I decided to cover up some background that I had already created. I was loving the background at first, but it just didn't feel like me. And then the more I added to it, the more busy the whole page got, especially with how busy these file folders are. And so I wanted to tone everything down and decided just on the simplistic background of a dictionary page. And so I just glued that down while I just wanted to get it done and over with, cover up my mistakes before I started on this page. And as you can see here, I have a cluster going on with 2 file folders. Now, this devotional is sold out from By the Well, but you can get all the extra goodies. So make sure to go check out their website to see if those things are available still. I will put all those links down below. Back to this devotional day. Day 9 is all about in remembrance. That is the title of the day, and we're talking about the Lord's Supper. And so we read in Luke 22:19, and he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And so we're talking about doing things in remembrance. And we go back to Exodus 12:14, which says, "This day shall be for you a memorial day." So Tom is saying it's clear that God uses repetition to teach us, probably because on the whole, we are slow learners. And that is totally true. And so I decided to dig a little bit deeper and to listen to a podcast on Theocast. It is the podcast named What Happened to Communion. So in studying this devotional day and also listening to the podcast and taking notes, I had a lot of information about communion that I never really even thought about before. And so one of them is being the importance of taking communion as a body of believers. I never even realized that communion could be split up into common union and just what that means as a body of believers taking it together. Justin Perdue is talking about communion in the podcast and says that when we take it, we are remembering when God remembered us. And that sentence just stood out to me so much. I wanted to remember that and also remember that communion can be split up into common union. So that was just a little bit of the notes that I took that I decided to add into this Bible journaling page. I had a lot more notes that I could have fit into these little file folders, but those were the 2 things that stood out the most to me. And so I decided to tuck that into a journaling card. I just, put it through my typewriter, and then I did cut it down a little bit. I just am using the back side of a journaling card. You'll see that in a couple minutes. But as you see here, I'm just creating an easy, simple cluster. This is definitely going to be the focal point of my page. I'm not even grunging much stuff up like I usually am. I really just like the simplicity and the colors that I have going on here. So I'm adding a couple of tickets and whatnot that are Tim Holtz ephemera. And you'll see here, those are my little bit of notes that I've added. And then I am going to back it with some of that paper that matches the file folder. So I will just cut that out so you won't see the back side of the journaling card that I trimmed down some. So you know me, if you've watched any of my videos, I always like adding a little bit of metal to my pages. So I grabbed one of the Tim Holtz mini clips and I decided to add that to the side of the file folder. Now, if you saw before in the video, I did decide to use some score tape to tape down the left-hand side of both of those file folders. I didn't want them opening at all because I don't want the flowers to be crushed and creased. So that is why I did that. And now I'm taking out these little word and phrase stickers from Tim Holtz. Last night I decided to go through the whole book and just dot little tiny dots everywhere where it said remembrance, remember, anything to do with that, because I wanted to kind of make that a title of one of these cards. I decided to use the one that just said remember, period. And I thought that was so good to just have that period that, solidifying that we need to remember, I felt like. I didn't know if I wanted to add it to my little cluster piece or add it to the little tab on the file folder. I ultimately decided to add it to that file folder because I just felt like it stood out a little bit more there, wasn't so lost in the cluster. And then to finish this off, I just add a little bow clip that I had on hand, and then that will be it. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I'll try to link everything I use down below in the description if it's available, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.